What's good, boy? Listen, man, welcome back. Welcome back. I believe this is lesson number 4, all right? We're breaking down the DISC assessment. Now, listen, this is the playbook, how to dominate your 20s, okay? So every time we end the lesson, I'm going to give you a play. You got to run the play. Don't call no audibles. Don't shift. Run the play. Trust me, you got to do it in these steps, much like when you're baking a cake. You don't do step 7 before you do step 3. And you don't do step 10 before you do step 1. You go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Run the play, bro. Okay? Run the play. Trust me. We going somewhere. But we first have to become the kind of person that can do the kind of thing so that you can have what God wants you to have. So as we're talking about becoming right now, okay, we got to identify who we are, which is why we went through and we're going through the DISC assessment. All right, so let's start off with the first style, which is the D for dominant. All right, now it says right here quickly. We ain't gonna take too long here, but we gotta break down these different styles to understand who we are, where we are, so we can go to the next level. All right, bro, let's go. It says right here, the dominant style driven by the inner need to lead and be in personal control. Take charge of people and situations so that they can reach their goals. I am a dominant person. I'm highly motivated, very self-motivated. I don't need nobody else to kind of do it for me. All I need is for you to just point me in the right direction. Boom, I'm a go-getter. You know what I'm talking about. You a go-getter. You like, man, I'm about this life. I'm about this grind. I like to work. That's a highly dominant person, right? They want to win. We want to win. We are competitive, and we're very competitive with ourselves. Now, let's look at some of the fears of a highly dominant person. Right here, the fear of falling into a routine. The fear of being taken advantage of. The fear of looking soft. So they go to extremes to prevent those fears from materializing. They may act impatient, and as a result, they may get things done, but they leave people behind in the process. Right? That's a highly dominant person. Let's look at some of their weaknesses, right? Stubbornness, impatience, and toughness. Naturally preferring to take control of others. They may have a low tolerance for feelings, attitudes, and inadequacies of coworkers, subordinates, friends, family, and romantic interests, right? These are the type of people that want to be the alpha male. The problem is they don't understand that if you want to go far, you go together. If you want to go fast, you go alone. So highly dominant people like myself, man, we have the tendency that we sometimes make the mistake we're willing to sacrifice our relationships and our friendships in order to reach the top of Mount Everest. That's a problem, and we're going to talk about that later, all right? But we're first analyzing the D, the dominant style, no Diddy, the dominant style personality types, all right? So let's move on now to the I, which is the interacting style, right? These people, they like to go where the action is. They like to be where the party is. You feel me? They have an outwardly energetic, fast pace. They like to prioritize relationships over tasks. I mean, these are people. They like to be with people, right? People motivate them, and the recognition of people highly motivates them, right? Now, here's one of the challenges. People's admiration and acceptance typically mean more to this type than any other. That's the key right there, bro. Why? Because their biggest fear is public humiliation. Whether appearing uninvolved, unattractive, unsuccessful, or unacceptable to others. In other words, the high interacting style type of person has the weakness and the tendency to be a people pleaser. Yeah. And these frightening forms of social rejection, they threaten the interacting I style core because they seek approval. Woo! This is good. They want to be approved by people. They want to be applauded and affirmed and acknowledged by people. So a lot of what they do is to seek the approval of people. And once they have the approval, it's short-lived. So they feel like they have to do it all over again. And it's a never-ending high. Woo! Listen, man, you got to know who you are right now, so that you know who you need to become later on, okay? Now, consequently, this person may go to extremes to avoid public humiliation, lack of inclusion, or loss of social recognition. Now, here are some other weaknesses: too much involvement, impatient, being alone. They struggle being alone. Yo, listen, fellas, 20-year-old, you want to dominate in your 20s, you got to learn how to be alone sometimes, bro. Short attention span. Right? They become easily bored, always going after the next thing, never fully fulfilling and completing the one thing they were assigned to do in the first place, right? They can be seen as superficial, haphazard, erratic, overly emotional. Procrastination is a big one for these kinds of people, all right? Let's move on quickly to the S style. This is the steady person, okay? The steady person, they seek sincere personal attention and acceptance, right? They're steady. They follow through actions. They prefer a slower, easier pace. They focus on building trust, getting acquainted, because the aim for these people are long-standing personal relationships, all right? These people, they like to work in constant environments. Here's the problem. Here's the fear. They fear change. You know, I'm talking to you right now, right? They fear change. They fear the unknown, disorganization, right? If there's any disruption to the routine, they crumble and they can't do nothing else about it. And some of you, the reason why you struggle with time management and procrastination and lack of discipline is because you've tried different schedules. You've tried different habit stacking programs. But when life be lifing, when there are interruptions, your plan has no flexibility in it. People who have a high S style, who are very steady, this is their personality, they're a steady person, you don't know how to pivot very well. But life is all about making pivots. You struggle to plan for changes. A general worry is that the unknown may even be more unpleasant than the present, right? You have a difficult time speaking up, getting along with other people. And as a result, you do not like confrontation. Fellas, listen to me. In your 20s, we're talking about dominating in your 20s. I need you to know we got to first find out who we are. I have to first become the kind of person, but I can't become the kind of person until I am aware of the person that I am right now. All right. They lack assertiveness. We're talking about the S style. They lack assertiveness, and this lack of assertiveness, it can take a toll on their health and their well-being. Last one, here it is. This is the C style, conscientious. All right. This person, they prefer involvement with the performance of products and services under specific and preferably controlled conditions, right? These are your people who are good at policy and procedure and practices. These are the people who are very like, I dot my I's and I cross my T's. These are like your real organized administrative type of people. Now, here are their biggest fears. Uncontrolled emotions and irrational acts relate to their fear that these illogical acts may prevent goal achievement. Not very in tune with their emotions. That's a problem, bro. That's a problem. Similarly, they fear emotionality and irrationality in other people. And so they strive to avoid embarrassment so that they attempt to control both themselves and their emotions. Watch this. These kind of people, they feel the need, I gotta be right. That pushes people away. They prefer checking processes themselves. They are micromanagers. Y'all not listening to me. And they have a problem. Watch this. This is the big one. The conscientious style kind of person struggles with perfectionism. Woo! And perfectionism is the enemy of productivity because it's never good enough. So you never put yourself out there. You never put the book out there. You never put the business out there. You never turn in the homework on time. Nothing is ever good enough for you because it's not perfect enough for you. That's a problem. Because you're never able to move forward, baby. You're never able to move forward. Watch this. People with the conscientious style, they struggle with this. Paralysis of analysis. You simply overthink too much. So that's a quick breakdown of the DISC assessment, right? Of your personality type. So again, I want you to run the play, bro, okay? Run the play. Listen to me. Run the play, all right? I need you. Do the DISC assessment. Really see where your strengths are so you can capitalize on those and highlight your weaknesses so you can maximize on those, all right? Now, here's what I would need you to do, right? I told you earlier to get 2 books by Simon Sinek, right? Find Your Why and Start With Your Why. But now I need you to get this next book, okay? Positive Intelligence by Shazad Shamin. Positive Intelligence by Shazad Shamin. Bro, run the freaking play. Trust me, run the play. I'm telling you to get these books because just watching this is not enough. Getting the coaching is not enough. You gotta read the books. Reading, listen to me, 20-year-old man. Reading is gonna take your life to the next level. You gotta get exposed to new information. You gotta get exposed to new patterns of thinking. In order to become the kind of person that can do the kind of thing that God wants you to do, so you can have what God wants you to have, you gotta read, bro. You gotta become a ferocious reader. Put down Instagram, put down Netflix, put down 2K, put down whatever it is that's distracting you. Get in these freaking books. All right, bro? Get the book, Positive Intelligence by Shazad Shamin. All right? Let's go to the next lesson, baby. Come on. Let's run the play, baby. Let's run the play, baby. Let's go, let's go, let's go.